Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to our weekly Arrow After Show. We are so glad that you are joining us here for our, weekly run around talking about Arrow. As I adjust my camera just a little bit, there we go. Hey guys, my name is John Campea, and we are here to talk about Arrow Season 2, Episode number 12, that was broadcast originally on January 29th. 2014. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is John Campea. I'm going to be host today. And joining me, the full crew is back here. So first of all, sitting to my immediate right is Kaori.
Hey guys, hello.
And sitting right beside her, of course, returning this week after being gone last week is Anne.
What's up, Arrowheads? My new name for you guys.
Arrowheads. That's not bad. Arrowheads. So we're here to talk about Arrow Season 2, Episode 12. We just finished watching the episode. We're going to talk, this is how we're going to break this down. We're going to talk about our positives. We're going to talk about our negatives. And, of course, we are going to talk about our overall thoughts. And then the second half of the show, what we're going to do is we're just going to throw it open to you guys who are watching live in the chat board. And we will just take questions from you guys in the chat board. So thank you for joining us for this episode of Arrow, and let's get rolling. First of all, let's start with this. Let's start with the whole positives of this episode. Kaori, let's start with you. Your positives of this week's episode.
Oh man, there's so many in this particular episode. I think that the theme of this episode was losing control and learning how to control it. And so the positives was Moira is suddenly becoming very important again, possibly. I love the fact that she's the only one in this episode that actually has some control with the help of Thea, and Walter's back, which is awesome.
Oh yeah, seriously, that was a really nice, pleasant surprise for me seeing Walter back. I love the Walter character. It's really nice seeing him back there.
Yeah, so I'm really glad he's back. I hope he's back in the upcoming episodes. And then we've got Roy and Oliver, and I love the fact how the parallel is Oliver realized that since he failed to tell Slade the truth, it cost him Slade's control, so he realizes that he has to tell Roy the truth about his identity so he can save Roy. I loved that parallel so much. Of course, we have, I was going to say Black Dynamite. Boss Tiger back. Amanda Waller. And even Laurel losing control and having her father, and even the ghosty Sarah coming back. I love this episode. So many positives.
And positives.
Stephen Amell hinted that there would be a lot of geek boners or fangasms in this episode.
Geek boner is my term. You better not have stolen my term.
Well, you might need to go after
Find
him.
your own damn term, Amell. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
There were a ton. There were definitely a ton. There was a lot of shout outs to, comic book fans and also just fans of Arrow. Like Kaori hit on pretty much everything that I enjoyed about the episode. Bronze Tiger, I love seeing Michael Jai White on Arrow. Anytime we can have him on, I'm happy to have him. I just love him as an actor and then on this show as well. It was Moira's episode for most of the part, so I was really happy to see her back. She's one of my favorite characters. We still don't know enough about her that I just love when they have episodes like this where she's kind of the co-star. Having Walter there by her side makes me reminisce about how they used to be together, so that was really cool. And a lot of things that Arrow does a lot of things right, but one of the things that they do really right, in my opinion, is that they go back to season 1, or they'll go back to the first episode or whatever. And, there was the mention of Markov and Markovian. And that, again, was something that was mentioned, I believe, in season 1 when they talked about Brian Markov, a.k.a. Geoforce in the comics. So they mentioned that name again, which was really cool. Things are never forgotten in the show. So I really love that about this show. And Amanda Waller. A lot of you guys are going crazy in the chat right now just saying Amanda Waller, the White Queen, is in the house. So I'm suspecting that the emphasis on her heels, her walking and the red heels, is maybe alluding to the pilot or season 1 where we saw just the legs.
Right.
Maybe. I don't know. But it was a good episode. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it was, I sound like a broken record. Every week I say, wow, this is a great episode. But it's true. Wow, this was a great episode. And it started off with the dude going into the prison. Volunteer going into the prison cell. I'm not sure how he knew they would put him in the same cell as Bronze Tiger. Maybe they've got their own clairvoyant, but okay. So he gets put in the same cell. That whole thing about him splitting his own arm open and getting out the blades. And I guess I gathered from the conversation that he was told that if he lets himself die by getting these weapons to Bronze Tiger, that his son would get looked after. His son would get a lot of money and stuff like that. And I thought it was interesting. I love Michael Jai White. Love Michael Jai White. I was so excited that they brought him back. I do like that one of the things they do so great in this show is harken back, not just to season 1 like you were pointing out, Anne, but they harken back to characters they have used. Mm-hmm. It's not once we use a character, boom, that character is gone and we don't have to worry about them anymore. I love the fact that they do that. Although, I will say this, in that whole opening sequence with Bronze Tiger breaking out of prison, the prison guard comes into the cell. There's a dead man, bloody mess laying on the floor with another inmate in the cell. So what does the prison guard do? He gets in, gets down on his knees and turns his back by himself, turns his back to the other inmate. And it's like, oh, come on.
I will say that they did make a joke out of that, because wasn't it Felicity that said something about Iron Heights is really bad about keeping people in or something? They're alluded
better
to
at
the
keeping
fact,
secrets than they are keeping prisoners
so
inside.
Maybe they're kind of alluding to the fact that these
Maybe,
guards
but that
suck.
was so silly. There's a guy on the ground clearly murdered and only one other guy in here. I'm going to come in, get down on my knees in a completely defenseless position and turn my back to the guy who must have killed him. So I don't know. That was just a silly thing. I love the fact that another thing, harkening back, there's still an earthquake machine around. Mm-hmm. I mean, not anymore, but at the time. Although when they went to Merlin's house, it looks like the house has been abandoned for 25 years. And it's really only been empty for like a year. But okay, whatever. The stuff I'll go into the stuff I'm unhappy about later. A lot of the action stuff, once again, was really good. It was great seeing Bronze Tiger back in action. Stephen Amell, once again, look, he started off this series as being good. He was a good Green Arrow, but he has grown. Like, I feel like every couple of weeks we see Stephen Amell, take another step in growing as an actor and really owning this character more and more. And as he's getting more comfortable, I feel like he's starting to show us more dimensions to Oliver as he is growing more and more and becoming more and more comfortable with the character, which is really great to see. Thea didn't annoy me this episode.
Yeah, me neither.
Saints be praised. Thea didn't annoy me this episode.
She actually had a decent dialogue with her mother. Like, she had good
Some good
lines
jokes.
She
there.
had pertinent, non-ridiculous, made sense, drove the story forward dialogue, which they just seemed to be allergic to giving Thea. But they did it this episode, and it made sense, and it didn't feel awkward and out of place and stupid, and that was great. You guys mentioned Walter's back. Walter seriously is one of my favorite B-level characters in the show. Mm-hmm. So excited to see Walter back. I just think that dude is so smooth. I mean, that dude is so slick and so charming.
Yeah.
He might be able to get to third base with me. I mean, if he really push it. And I'm as heterosexual as they come. But that dude is smooth. Other than that, let's get around now. Let's talk about and the island stuff. Once again, island stuff, very solid. I love the fact that they've brought Sarah back. Although, considering how vehemently Arrow tried to get her to stay, and she was insistent on leaving, all he had to do, I just saw Laurel. Something's wrong. She needs you.
I know.
And
he could be lying.
That's all it took to bring her back? I mean, it took a hell of a lot more. I mean, you did more than that to try to get her to stay, and she never listened. But for whatever reason, she decided to come back. That was a great reveal, too, with Laurel laying on the ground, opening her eyes, and seeing Sarah there. That was a great reveal. Very well done. So, so let's start talking about negatives. Anne, let's start with you with the negatives. What were some of your negatives about the episode?
Talking about great reveals and segueing into bad reveals, I'm not very happy with the way Oliver just so easily revealed himself to Roy Harper. That's why I'm doing this.
Okay, you know how I feel about Roy.
Yeah.
I will say this. If Oliver felt like half the city was about to be destroyed, and he wasn't being able, because Roy was in his little roid rage.
I like that.
Roid rage. And he thought the only way he could get through to him was to appeal about Thea. Then I can see that making sense. And you know how I feel about Roy. And yet I thought that made sense. They made sense, I think. Anyway.
Yeah, it was within his character. I just, and I can't think of another way that I would have loved to see it. I just kind of just didn't like it. Let's see. There's another reveal that we got, and I think maybe I'm the only one in the room as well. But we find out that Oliver is the one that shoots Slade in the eye. And it's differing from what the comic story is. And I know that they don't need to stay within the comics, but I almost wish that I didn't know that before actually seeing it happen on the island.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
Right? I kind of just wish I saw it happen and not knowing that it's coming. And Laurel's drug problem, it's hard to watch. I don't know. I'm kind of neutral about it. As well as the training montage with Roy, I don't really know if added any value to me. So those are my negatives.
Kaori, what about you? What's some of the negatives? For this
I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think it's really hard for me to think of anything really negative in this episode. I loved it. And I loved the fact that Oliver and what's his face, Roy Harper, can get started. And now he's the fourth person. And he was introduced, and I just don't have anything negative to say. Maybe in the beginning, I got a little annoyed when Roy was training and he just didn't want to listen to Oliver. It's like, yo, there's one person in this whole entire city that's willing to help you, who understands you, and you're not listening to him, and you'd rather be controlled and all that stuff. That was a little frustrating. But other than that, this was probably my favorite episode of the season.
Wow, really?
Yes.
That's saying a lot.
I'm so happy because I've been waiting for Roy to do something with Oliver, and now it's happening sooner, and now they can really get going. So. All
right, on to my negatives. There are a few little nitpicky things. Like I said, the prison guard turning his back on the inmate, which in this case was Bronze Tiger. There, the look of the state of affairs of the Merlin house. Little things but none of that's important. That's just nitpicking. Roy.
Aww.
Roy. Oliver. As soon as Roy threw his third little bitch fit of the episode.
Mm-hmm. Third. I think it was like 10.
But I'm going back to the third one, though. Around his third Roy's a little bitch fit that he threw, I was yelling at the TV, put an arrow through his head.
Yes, you were.
Kill him. Just kill this guy already. I do not like this character at all. And every week I watch it and I think, okay, today I'm going to like this character. Today they're going to do something with him that I'm going to like. And everything they do with him just felt like rather predictable. I mean, look, Ollie goes to stop the transaction deal with the machine. And you knew Roy was. They set it up. They telegraphed it so obvious. Roy's going to show up. And as soon as that scene started, you guys heard me. I'm sitting there in the chair and I'm going, oh God, they're going to have it so Roy saves Ollie. Watch. And it was and they did it so predictable. And Roy, how Ollie can take care of Roy no problem. But Ollie, who has a very difficult time with Bronze Tiger, but Roy can take Bronze Tiger out with a punch. One punch, Bronze Tiger is down. And that really irritated me because you oversimplified Roy and you devalued Bronze Tiger. Just like that. You devalued this great character who can just be taken out with one punch by a guy in his first night out. And that irritated me a lot, as a matter of fact. But other than that, I got to say, at first when they introduced this whole thing about Moira possibly running for mayor, my first thought was, oh gosh, that's stupid because she did this and she did this, she did this. But as they started to explain their position, Walter and that other dude explaining their position, why they think it could work, it was convincing me. I'm like, you know what? Yes. And I was complaining actually at the beginning of the season that they made it seem like the whole city was against her. And I was like, come on, there has to be a significant amount of people in this city who are smart enough to understand this was a woman being blackmailed. In essence, her family was being held hostage in many ways by an urban terrorist to make this happen. There have to be a significant amount of people in this city that would be intelligent enough to understand that. And now they are introducing the notion that, there were a lot of people in the town who understood that she really had no choice, that her children were, the lives of her children and her husband and everything were being threatened, and how many people would act differently. They convinced me, Walter and his buddy convinced me that Moira could run and could win mayor.
I agree with that.
Which is obviously setting up some really cool stuff in the future for problems they're going to have with Brother Blood. Because Brother Blood wants to be mayor, and so this is going to add another level of conflict to the whole thing. But honestly, the whole Roy thing, that was the one big negative for me about the episode. Other than that, staggeringly good episode. Really, it was fun, it was tense, it was exciting. I could even let the easy reveal to Roy go, because I felt they set up a scenario in which it made sense that he would do that. But I'll be honest, I'm still hoping that before the end of the season, Oliver kills him.
Open your heart. Open your heart.
No, my heart is closed.
No.
I have no room in my heart for the Roy
guys.
character.
No.
I want Roy to die. I want the Roy character dead.
I'm alone here.
And,
Sorry.
sorry to all the Roy fans, but that's just
Had a choice, Laurel or Roy? I'd actually go Laurel.
What? Okay.
Yeah, I would. I'm getting. Here's the funny thing. I found. I keep forgetting the actress's name who plays Laurel.
Katie Cassidy.
Katie Cassidy. I found her performance in this episode maybe to be the best performance she's given this season. Mm-hmm. That being said, I am getting really bored of everybody around Laurel saying, "You've got a problem, you need help," and Laurel going, "No, I'm fine. I said I want to be left alone." Okay, we've done that for about 10 episodes now. We've done that for about, okay, we get it. We get it. Now, we're getting to the point now where the writers in this one little area are starting to treat us like we're stupid. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, wait, do you think that the audience understands that Laurel has a problem yet? I'm not sure. Let's hammer it in their heads again. Okay. And, so I'm getting tired of that. Like, I get it. You made your point. We understand what's happening with Laurel. Move on. Progress with it now. Because they've introduced this story thread with Laurel, and they haven't moved on it. They've just, here's this story thread, this Laurel with this addiction problem. And we haven't progressed one step. Every week, we're just going to remind you, the audience, that she has an addiction problem.
Look, I'm not a drug addiction expert, but I imagine to get over an addiction, it might take a little while. But when we see it on screen, it just seems like forever. And I remember when we were watching Entourage, and the lead actor in that show had a drug problem all season, and John and I were just pulling our hairs out like,
oh, yeah, because I
can't watch this anymore.
What was the lead's character's name in Entourage again? But the actor's name is Adrian something.
Grenier.
But I'm trying to remember what the name of the character is. Guys in the chat board, remind us who the lead character is in Entourage again. But yeah, that one season where he had the cocaine problem, it was like every single episode was the same thing. Oh, it looks like Johnny's his brother. Like, guys, tell us in the chat board. Come on. Oh, it looks like he has a drug problem and he's losing control. And then the next episode, oh, look, he's developed a drug problem and he's losing control. And the next episode, oh, he's developing a drug problem and he's losing control. It's like they did that for like all 13 episodes that season. It was insane. And this is feeling a lot like that. But I'm spending a lot of time talking about this when really, in the grand scheme of the episode and overall, minor point. Mm-hmm. It was a great episode, and I love it was my favorite performance Cassidy gave. What was the name of the character?
Huh? Oh no, Vince.
Vince. Yes, thank you. It was Vince on Entourage. That.
Laughing at a comment in the chat while we're on the subject of Laurel, Trish L. Austin says, "I did appreciate that she actually tried to eat a few times during this episode." Talking about Laurel.
Oh, yeah.
There's this one part where she turns to her dad after he tried to take her to the AA meeting, and she turns to her dad, "I thought I made it clear. I'm hungry." And then Carrie goes, "I highly doubt that."
Yeah. Well.
But I thought it was a very good performance on her part this episode. I actually felt more sympathetic towards Laurel in this episode than I have at this point. So that was really good to see. But overall, solid, fun, exciting episode. And you guys have anything else you want to add before we throw it open to... By the way, start throwing in questions. If you haven't started throwing in questions yet, throw in questions. We're going to spend the rest of the show now just taking your questions and addressing them to the best that we can. Just give you our thoughts and opinions and whatever. So, Anne, you got some questions pulled out already?
I do.
All right, what do we got?
comment first before we close this whole Laurel book. Smoke Arrow says the problem that they have with Laurel is that her behavior as an addict with people is the same exact attitude she had before she was even addicted. The only difference now is she does it with a glass in her hand.
That's actually a really good point.
Yeah.
It's true. She has that same, I hate to say it, but annoying demeanor and whiny and complaining about her life, even though it's pretty good relatively. And her father had a good point when he tried to take her to the AA meeting. He was saying there are people in there who have it worse off than you.
Oh yeah. You know. Although I did find it funny that Laurel is trying to be left alone, and she's mad and she's hurt. So what's she do? Goes to her ex-boyfriend's bar to get hammered, where she's sure to be found. And maybe that was a cry for help. I don't know.
I do want to know why she still lives in that apartment.
She's how many times has she been abducted, broken into, and attacked in that one apartment? It's time to find a new place to live.
All right. First question comes from Gerard Rayford, who asked, do you guys think the Suicide Squad will be allies to the Arrow team when Slade builds his army?
I don't think so. That's all I know.
I don't think so either. I think it'll be a completely different group.
It is neat because we've talked before about how we've got all these different factions, right? We've got the League of Assassins with Ra's al Ghul. We've got Merlin himself. We've got the Brother Blood thing with Deathstroke. And now we're getting Suicide Squad. And we've always theorized that at some point, all of them are villains, basically. All of them are bad news. At some point, we've always believed that Oliver will ally himself for a short time with one of them to combat another one of them that maybe poses the bigger threat. And I theorize it's going to be with Merlin at some point. Maybe, Arrow, Merlin, Sarah, and Huntress is coming back next week.
Yeah, she is.
I think they're calling the episode. I think they're calling the episode "Birds of Prey."
Ooh,
okay.
Is the name of the episode.
Yay.
But, I mean, Suicide Squad certainly becomes one of the options that Arrow could ally himself with. Or maybe they could become the bigger threat that he's got to ally with, Deathstroke to go and take down. Him and Deathstroke have to buddy up just for one thing because, Suicide Squad poses a big threat to both of them. And then they go back to being mortal enemies. I don't know, but it does offer another interesting possibility. What do you guys think?
I don't think that he's going to... what was the question about allies? About Suicide Squad? I don't think the Suicide Squad is gonna be his ally for a while or ever. I just don't. And I can't go any further than that because that's the only I got. That's the only thing I got.
Yeah, I think they just need to keep the different groups separate. I think it'll add to more of the storyline in the future. Okay, so the next question is from the Movie Junkies, who asks, what characters would you like to see in the Suicide Squad?
And that's all you.
Well, we have a lot of them already. Too bad Vertigo's dead, but Deadshot, Bronze Tiger, obviously, is the first recruit. Who else have we seen that has... I wish the Dollmaker didn't die. I would love to have seen him in there.
And a couple people were pointing out to me, sorry, Huntress comes back in episode 17. People are reminding me about that.
Okay. Oh, that's been a while.
I think it's Ra's al Ghul's daughter comes back on February 5th.
Or debuts.
Debuts. I got those mixed up. Thank you for correcting me, guys. Go ahead, Ed.
Oh, good.
I was just going to say, when you said Deadshot, I want to see more of Deadshot, and I want to see how he plays into Diggle's life.
Yeah, because more Deadshot means more Diggle, right? And we want more Diggle.
Yeah, and they're not done with Deadshot.
No.
He's going to play a significant part of whatever they're going to do. And yeah, you're right. He's absolutely going to be part of the squad. No doubt.
Yeah. Okay, so Boom Boom 418 says, oh wait, I do have a question.
Okay.
They realized they didn't. Did Moira flat out tell Walter to kill her doctor to hide her secret?
When she started that conversation, it kind of felt like they were going in that direction, but she's talking about going straight and legit, and Walter has never struck me as the type of guy who's like, let us go silence our enemies. Like he's the white hat guy. If anything, I interpreted it by the end of talk to him, bribe him, do whatever we need to do. But I didn't get the feeling they're saying go kill him, because I don't think that's within Walter's character.
Well,
I wouldn't doubt that maybe Moira would do it to protect her daughter. but I can't see Walter agreeing to be a part of something like that.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I could see it in Moira's eyes, but never in Walter's. He's too sweet. But Moira, yeah, I think she's killed a few people. I put my money on that.
She did kill a few people, kind of passive aggressively in a way. I actually think, she was hinting at go kill this guy because my secret and Thea's protection. So,
all right, what's next?
All right, Arturo Balderas asks, "Who do you guys think is the client?" "Quote unquote." Ra's al Ghul, Merlin, or Amanda Waller, perhaps.
That type of weapon seems to me like Ra's al Ghul would consider it dishonorable.
Right.
So I don't see that. I mean, look, the Liam Neeson Ra's al Ghul in the movies would obviously use something like that, but for this Al Ghul, I have a feeling he would consider it something dishonorable. It's certainly a possibility that it's Brother Blood, and Deathstroke. I mean, because he seems to have a mission for saving the city in his own way. But they weren't talking about destroying Oliver City. They're talking about, what was the name of the city again?
Markovian.
Markovia.
Yeah.
Destroying that. So I'm not really sure. Maybe it's Ra's al Ghul's daughter. I doubt it, though.
My guess, because it has to be someone with quite a bit of money, right? They're paying $3 million for the device, and then Bronze Tiger himself is getting $1 million of that. Because we don't know too much about her, my initial guess would be Isabel.
I thought
Rochef.
so too.
She's on the list. We confirmed that thanks to one of the fans who noticed that as well. So she's got some kind of dirty past because she's on the list.
And the name.
And
too.
she's got money because she tried to buy out the company at the beginning of the season. So I think I would consider her suspect for sure.
That's actually who I was going to consider as well, because I know that sounds strange, but the city is also kind of like, she looks like she would be from kind of be related from that city. And we still haven't gotten more of her yet.
Yes.
So
we don't know too much about her. We have a whole other half of the season. It could definitely be her. I just hope it's a female. I need some more like female badasses in here besides Sarah.
Who the legs are.
I still kind of think it's Amanda.
Or it could be a dude with nice legs.
That would make sense.
Roy in heels.
All right, what's next?
All right. Let's see. Bruce Knight asks, when Oliver had a polygraph test in season 1, he admitted that he was the reason Sarah died. Is it possible he let Slade hurt her in the upcoming island scenes?
I got the feeling in season 2, I got the feeling that Oliver believed he killed her. That's the impression I got from the early episodes of this season. My impression was that Oliver believed he had killed her. Although, considering the way Oliver deals with guilt, if he thinks he failed to save her from Deathstroke or somebody else on the Amazo freighter or whatever, then maybe he sees that as he is responsible for killing her. But I don't know. It's a good theory. What do you guys think?
I think that our viewers have a very good memory.
Yes.
But I think that, just like you said, John, he was under the impression that he was the one that killed her. I don't think Slade is to blame, or I don't think he thinks that she was tortured by Slade. I think he feels like it was his doing. So,
and is it not that Oliver still believes that Slade is dead?
He still believes Slade's dead. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm totally with you guys on that one.
Okay.
All right. So Daniel Wild asks, Deathstroke versus Merlin. Who wins and will it happen? I think it will when Slade tries to harm Thea to get to Ollie.
I think Deathstroke is stronger than Merlin.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Merlin's already kind of gone for a while, and Merlin has a weakness because he still loves Thea, and Deathstroke has no one to love right now, as far as we know.
The ghost of Shadow.
And love is weakness, so I think Deathstroke is definitely stronger. He has a vengeance, much bigger than Merlin.
Deathstroke.
So. And he's got the miracle.
It's called internet porn, buddy. That'll love you. It'll never let you down. Here's the thing, though. Oliver beat Slade on the island. We haven't seen that yet, but we know that's what happens. So Oliver is theoretically more powerful later because he grows in his power. And Merlin bested Oliver. I'm not so sure a Merlin Deathstroke fight is all that one-sided. I think that would be a very, very interesting fight to see. I do believe Deathstroke wins, but I also believe Deathstroke walks away with some broken ribs and a bloodied face and all that. I think it's a closer fight than we initially think.
Okay.
Well, and Merlin's got that training that we don't know too much about.
Yeah.
I mean, that definitely plays a factor as well. That may even balance out the Mirakuru that's in Slade.
But you know, the thing about Deathstroke is, as far as we know right now, he fears no one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But Merlin fears somebody.
Ra's al Ghul. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yep. All right, let's take just a couple more.
All right. DC5 Trust asks, is it weird that Red Arrow, well, he's already referring to Roy as Red Arrow, is physically stronger than Green Arrow? Isn't it supposed to be the other way around?
Did he actually refer to him as Red Arrow?
No, the DC5 Trust is.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, he's a character with the Mirakuru, or however you pronounce it. Marakuru, Mitzi Betsy, I don't know how you say it. So no, it's not unusual. Strength is all the character has going for him. Oliver should have killed him. I'm sorry, Oliver just should have killed him. He will screw up and he will die by the end of the season. That is my prediction. That is my hope.
My prediction is by the end of the season, you both will like Roy Harper because he will become useful.
That is a tall order, lady. That's a tall order. I hope you're right. I hope they can make me like him. I do.
But I think that it's not strange because Roy, although he possesses more strength, he's not in control of it, as well as he's not in control of his mind. And Oliver is training him, so that already gives Oliver a mega one-up over Red Arrow or Roy Harper. So. Oh,
and that's another reason why Ollie revealed himself to Roy. Because remember, he said, "I didn't tell Slade the truth when I should have, and I think I could have saved him if I did." And so he decided to come clean to Roy, and
which I liked
because that's another way that he thinks it'll help save Roy. So yeah, there you go.
Is anyone else afraid of the reaction that Slade is going to have when he does find out the whole shadow scenario?
Well, I think he does. It's just we're going to find out. We're going to see his reaction on the island.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant in today because in the modern time he already knows clearly.
Oh no, he's about to go off on the island.
So I think he's going to find out from the doctor. I think he's about when he's getting ready to kill the doctor. He'll say, your buddy could have saved her.
I think like on the island, that moment on the island where he was like, I don't know what's happening to me, was probably the last time we'll see Slade Wilson be that vulnerable. I feel like after this episode, he's gone.
Balls to the wall.
Yeah.
Oh, and I just want to point out, hey, everybody in the chat board, because now everybody's jumping on my roid rage thing. When you tweet that or whatever, make sure you credit me with that. 'Cause I can see now roid rage is going to trend, ROYD rage. That's going to trend. Just remember where you heard it first. That's all. Okay, sorry. Let's get some more questions.
I've got a question, actually.
Okay.
Sorry, people in the chat. I'm going to be one of you. Do you guys think that we will see Professor Ivo in real time? Or does his life end on the island?
I think he gets killed on the island. And I think Slade kills him.
Before he knows about Shadow, I'm assuming that's going to be the motivation.
I think he kills him. He kills him after he finds out about Shadow. I think he finds out from Shadow. I think he finds out about Shadow from Ivo, and then he proceeds to gut Ivo. That's just my theory. I could be wrong.
Chills.
And it just makes me think about Black Canary and how did she get connected to Ra's al Ghul, and is it because of Ivo? But I don't think we're going to see him in real time now.
I think Ivo works for him.
Or worked?
Or worked past tense.
I don't know.
Yeah, if he's
That's
alive,
my thought.
not alive.
All right, let's get a few more.
All right, Kira asks, do you guys think we'll ever see the Lazarus Pit come into play?
I I think it might have came into play for Daddy Merlin, to reappear this season. But at the same time, I think that if we see come into play too often, it will kind of dilute the essence of it. Okay, I need to be healthy. I need to be youthful again. So let's just go to the Lazarus pit. I hope we don't see too much of it.
Well, that's the same feeling I get when people talk about Mirakuru and how it's this miracle, gives you super strength, power, whatever you want, drug, the same thing with the pit. I hope that's not always their solution to get people to come back to life. But they've alluded to it multiple times, so I'm sure it's not the last time we're going to hear about it.
It really depends on what they're going to do with Tommy. I still have hope, and I still have a theory that we have not seen the last of Tommy.
Do you know something we don't know?
Hey,
I did see a picture of...
I travel in Hollywood circles, baby.
I saw a picture of Stephen Amell hanging with the actor that plays Tommy. So
I would
they're
love
still
to
connected.
see Tommy. Like when they were walking through their haunted looking house, and we saw his picture.
The picture's there still. They keep doing more and more flashbacks. There's like... How often do we need to see the flashback at the beginning of each episode to Tommy dying in his arms? I've got to believe Tommy's coming back, and if they do, that'll probably signal Lazarus Pit. But you're right, Kaori. You have to be careful when you start introducing elements like a Lazarus Pit. Here's the problem: one of the worst things that ever happened in comic books was the return of Superman. And don't get me wrong, I love Superman, but the moment they killed Superman and then just brought him back like that, you took away one of the biggest dramatic elements out of comic books, which was the danger of death. Because nowadays in comic books, if anybody dies, it don't matter. Nobody's really ever dies in a comic book. So when you're watching Wolverine fighting this onslaught of this huge horde coming down on him, who cares if he dies? There's no dramatic tension if he dies, because 4 episodes later he's going to come back. If they introduce a Lazarus Pit into this Arrow universe that we have, they've got to use it very, very, very carefully, because Kaori's right. If you start abusing that thing, then all of a sudden there is no more dramatic tension. When Ollie is fighting for his life against Grundy, the dramatic tension is gone, because you know that even if Grundy rips his head off, Diggle's just going to get his body and sneak it off to the Lazarus Pit. Everything's fine the next episode. You got to be really careful with that. So if they do utilize like a Lazarus Pit to bring Tommy back, they got to figure out a way to explain that was a one-shot deal or something like that, or else it can take away a part of the soul of the show, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's next?
Oh, I lost my questions. Here we go. All right. Jonathan Radut asks, since Moira is running for mayor, what is Oliver going to do since he was backing Blood?
Well, he better He better back up his mama now. So that's all I gotta say.
No question.
Yeah, I don't think it matters. Like your best friend or whatever. If your dad runs, that's different. Your mom runs, it doesn't matter. Your mom runs. You gotta. That's your mom. You back up mom. That's it. No questions about it.
All right. Sky Captain 141 asks, do you think there was someone who helped Slade control his powers like Oliver is helping Roy?
No, I don't think so, and that's why he went crazy. Maybe at the end, Ivo, to get some control of Slade, told him what happened, and for a while, Slade was controlled by Ivo, and then eventually Slade killed Ivo, and this is my theory going way far, because he couldn't control him for long.
I think with Slade, it's an issue of it just completely consumed him. So it went beyond madness, where he's trying to hold on to his sanity and his humanity, and that causes crazy. I think it just, with Slade, it was an issue of not somebody helping him control it, but rather just completely giving into it and it consuming him totally. And now we see that he's just evil. Now he's just pure evil, driven by rage and revenge, and that's seems to be all that's left of him now. So
amen. He's evil in a nice business suit and a nice patch
great
on his
suit.
eye.
Handsome man too.
Handsome
man, well dressed.
Oh, this kind of ties into that question. Mega Me 23 asks, does Slade Wilson have a chance for redemption in the modern timeline?
I don't think so. I think one of the great things about Arrow is that even Deadshot there's more to it than just it first seems, you know? Not everybody is pure bad. Not everybody is pure good. But in a world like that, I feel like you got to have one devil. And I think Deathstroke is going to be that devil. I don't think there's a redemption storyline in here for Deathstroke. I think he is the devil. And it's going to be that. Like, even with a Ra's al Ghul, yes, he is a villain. But he has a code of honor, and he has this, and he has family, and he has... So even that is not just one-dimensional. And that's one of the brilliant things that the writers and the creators of Arrow do so much better than a lot of other shows, is that they make their characters, even their heroes, even their villains, multidimensional. But when you got so many of them, it's nice to have that one anchor of bad. And I think our anchor of bad, the dick of the show, is going to be Deathstroke.
Yeah,
so.
It needs to be a constant.
Yeah, I agree.
Going back to if we think Professor Ivo will be in modern times, Daniel Wilde says yes as Amazo. Just wanted to put that out. All right. James Hooper asks, do you think Black Canary will get her metahuman powers? No.
No. I think you can introduce... Look, one of the things I like about Arrow so much is the fact that it wasn't superpowered. This world was not superpowered. And I like that because it means the danger's real. It means there's this human character that I can relate with because he's just a man. And I bristle, I got to admit, a little bit at the whole notion of the Mirakuru, once again, however you pronounce it, at the introduction of the Flash in this. I bristle, not that I've given up on it, but just that I bristle a bit at it because one of the things I love about this world so much is that it's a man. It's normal people doing extraordinary things. I really hope they don't fall into the slippery slope of now they got to have everybody with superpowers. They have a great Black Canary right now in Sarah who don't need superpowers to be a badass. And so I hope they don't go in that direction. If they do, we'll give it a shot and keep an open mind. But I just really hope they don't because... with each new character they introduce, a little bit of that element that I love about the show so much is slipping away. There are other elements that I still love about the show, but I really hope they don't. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm hoping not to see any supernatural powers. I would be more interested to see more gadgets involved, like trick arrows, or even Black Canary having some gadgets of her own, or even Diggle having gadgets of his own. That's something I'd be more interested in seeing. How about you?
Yeah, I agree. For the continuity of the show, leave the metahuman powers out. I mean, we're already getting enough with the Mirakuru's effects on some people, and for me, that's a little bit out there as well. Yeah, and then Barry Allen, and then potentially Grundy whenever he decides to rise from the dead. So, just small doses, of that stuff, but nothing extravagant like somebody's flying in the sky or something like that. No. Can't do that.
All right, let's take one more question.
All right. Corey Reviews asks, do you think Thea will find out that Oliver is Arrow by the end of the season?
I hope not, because I think enough people have found out who Oliver really is for the rest of this season. So we've got a lot of people, and including the Huntress who's coming back. She knows who he is as well. So I just hope not, and I don't think it's her place right now where looking like where the story's going. I don't think it's necessary for her to know at this point.
Let's put it this way. I think if Thea finds out this season, I think that is a huge flare in the sky telling us she's going to die by the end of the season.
Yeah.
I really do.
I agree.
I think if they let Thea find out who Oliver is, I think they're just going to use that as an extra dramatic tool so that when they kill her this season, she'll die. I think if she doesn't find out he's Arrow, it increases her chances exponentially of making it to the end of the season.
It's true.
Yeah.
I think
she finds out, I'm going to think, well, she's gone.
I think she would actually find out about her daddy before she finds out about Arrow. I mean, because then we're going to get the Tommy effect where he found out about Oliver's identity and then done. So.
All right, folks. Well, we've gone about 45 minutes, so we're going to call it a night. Great episode of Arrow tonight. So, I look forward to Wednesdays so much.
Me too.
Because not only do I get to watch a great show like Arrow, I get to hang out with two hot babes, of course, which I am the envy of all you guys so much. Oh, look at that Asian smile. And we get to hang out with you guys, which
Yes.
is like the best part of this whole thing. So thanks for making us a part of your night and making us a part of your Arrow experience. The show just keeps getting better. Cannot wait for us to get to the finale. So, Kaori, where can people find you online if they want to reach out to you?
Go ahead and find me right here. Yeah, there we go. Kaorious.
Anne?
And you can follow me on Twitter at Campea.
And you can find me on all the various social media networks just at John Campea. So for Kaori and Anne, thank you to you guys so much for joining us tonight. We will be back again next week for the Arrow After Show. Make sure you come on back and join us. And I love reading all the comments as we're doing the show. It's awesome. Thanks a lot, guys. So until next time, my name's John, and we will see you later. Bye-bye.